Hello there. Hello, and welcome to Morning Light. My name is Lee Kara, and if it's not morning where you are, in the words of the fabulous, prolific songwriter Jimmy Buffett, let's see here now, it is morning somewhere. So, good morning. Welcome to Morning Light. My name is Lee Kara. This is the very first episode of Morning Light, and I am super excited about that. So, let's jump right into it here. Now, this is my first time using this equipment, so we're gonna make sure that we get this together. All right, let's see. Hello there. Okay, so again, welcome to Morning Light. My name is Lee Kara, and if it's not morning where you are, it is morning somewhere. I'm so excited to be here today, and if you have a little cuppa, I have my little cuppa, and today I'm changing things up a little bit. I've definitely been getting a lot of messages and downloads, and I'm sure that all of you have as well. And if you're not, welcome. Maybe you'll get one soon just because you are tuning in and turning on your light. So I'm going to have a little sip of cuppa. I hope you'll share this out with your friends. All right. So let's get to it here and jump right in to what we're doing. All right. So today's agenda. So what we're going to do today is I want to line it up so that the people who want to just get their little taste of the light, turn themselves on for the day, and and move forward in it, they can just get it out of the way. Those who want to kind of hang out and chat and stick around and spend the morning with me, I'm grateful, and I hope you'll stick around. But we're going to start out with turning on our light, which is where we are going to tap into that divine within ourselves. We're going to turn it on so that all day long we can be in that space where we are in the flow, that energetic flow of divine, like river rapids, just moving through life. No issues, no problems, right? And then we are going to shine our light. So I believe in being proactive. And I've been speaking for quite a while. I've been doing shows since 2017 live. And I've been speaking for quite a while about facing the fire. And I have a deep belief that it is how we perceive the world that shapes it. That it is our connection to divine within ourselves that shapes what happens moving forward in our world. And because of this, I want to make sure that as I move through my day, I am looking at things through divine perspective. When you view things through divine perspective, you are moving yourself into the observer position and you are being objective about what you are looking at, about the news you are looking at, about the situation that you are looking at. So, sorry. There we go. So the next thing we will do is we are going to shine our light, and we are going to take a look at an issue, and we are going to shift our perspective on it so that we are viewing it differently. You and I are shaping reality, and it is the mass collective consciousness and how they view the world that creates it, that shapes it, that writes the script. And so you and I are going to change the script. You and I are going to be more proactive about our light work, or however you like to refer to whatever it is that you do. Some of you out there that watch me are really deep, devoted light workers doing the work every day of healing and growing and learning and looking at yourself and self-awareness and all of those things. Some of you are very new to this journey and you're just stepping into the space of recognizing there's something bigger than me, and I'm not sure that religion or Christianity encompasses it, but I'm ready and open-minded for the next. Some of you are Christian and you're just looking to expand your connection to divine beyond what you have in your church communities. And some of you might be atheists or have no idea what the heck you think of it. You just know there's something out there. Or maybe you think there's nothing out there. There might be one of you who thinks there's nothing out there. That's your choice, for sure. For sure. But what we're doing here is we're working on the 3D and how we move through the 3D and how we view the 3D. And what I want us to do each time that we get together is to integrate our 5D view of that utopian world, of that space where we are all equal, where we are all accepted, where we are all have rights, have our free will, have our freedoms, where we're all able to live in harmony with the knowing of the connection that we share, with the knowing and understanding of kindness and empathy towards our brothers and sisters. And so I want us to be proactive. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to shine our light on an issue every week. And we're just going to kind of fly over in the observer position, shift a little bit of that energy, shift how we look at it, and then move on with our day. Then we'll chitty chat for a few minutes. We'll chitty chat. We'll just sip a little coffee and you guys can share and I'll share. We'll talk about what's going on in our life and the energetic whatnots and woo-woos. And then we are going to step into the rune of the day. So those of you who are into divination, oracle reading, messages from the universe, you can stick around. We're going to do the rune of the day. And then, because I know some of you don't like the news, but I think it's a very important thing for us to look at. I think it's a very important thing for us to examine because we are diffusing it. We are transmuting it. We are shifting it by our mere observation, right? And so we're going to do diffuse the news, which is a segment where I actually look at specific news stories. Today, we're going to go a little bit light since it's the very first one. And we're going to change how we look at those news stories, how we internalize them, and thusly how that affects the vibration of it out in the world. And then we're going to do some live readings. If there's anyone still hanging around, we'll finish up with some live readings. So let's jump into the next. Come on. There we go. Okay. So our mission. Oh, I went one too far. Oh, and I don't know how to go back. There we go. Hold on. Okay. Our mission here at Morning Light and at Unleash Your Light, which is the show that I've been doing for, I got my Unleash Your Light message in 2012, is to change the world by shifting our own perspective, seeing ourselves and others through the divine light. How you look at a thing changes that thing. And that's actually a scientific thing. So that's actually a scientific concept. That how we look at something, oh, that's the wrong way. Wait a minute, hold on. Again, technical difficulties. How we look at a thing changes it. How we view a thing changes it. There's like a scientific principle in quantum mechanics that if you look at something, it is perceived merely by us looking at it, merely by us seeing it and observing it, a thing is changed. So imagine if many of us observe this thing as it changes just through how we're looking at it, right? When you look at one of the precepts of raising children is that if you look at a child as if they are bad, then they will become that. If you're always looking at them as bad, then they will become that. But if you're always looking for things to praise them on, they shift, they change, these things change. Okay, so let us go to the next. We are all connected. Divine light, creator, source, God, Gaia, call it Fred. It doesn't make a difference. As long as you're seeking, call it whatever you like. Whatever path you are on to make connection with that divine force, that is the purpose of all faith-based religions and methodology, is to connect with the divine energy of life. And however you want to define that and whatever road you want to walk down for that, you go for it. Whatever works for you is good. It's good. Okay, so this divine light is the energy of life. It is the spark of creation that animates all things. The frequency of unconditional love, and it's a Mobius strip of pure love, continuously fueling our life's experience. Each of us carries that life force, that light within us, in the vessel. It is the electricity in our brains, and we are each playing our single part in the story of life. We each carry a direct line to the light simply by turning on our joy and allowing it to shine from within us. That light is unconditional love, love without conditions, the deepest mother's love times infinity. Some of us didn't have mothers that were that loving, but this energy, it's the only way to put it in earthly terms that can be understood on a heart level, on a soul level, on a core emotional, like gut level. As we love ourself, we are worshiping at the altar of our own creation. At our own creation, our vessel was literally created to house a piece of God, to house a piece of God, and here we are, so that that God can have experiences here on earth, so that that God can live here. And I'm sure that there's a bigger picture, but that's above my pay grade. So I always focus, the thing that the universe has me focus on is unconditional love, love without conditions, and how we can integrate that with everyday life. So now here we are, we've gone through, we're at a baseline, believe in whatever God you want, say it however you want, use whatever terminology you want. Let's take a minute to turn on our light for the day, shall we? First, I want you to just take a deep breath and be right here, right now, right in this space. And as we do that, I want you to just kind of settle in to the energy of love, specifically unconditional love. Some people aren't quite sure how that unconditional love can just be turned on and experienced. So I want everyone out there, everyone, as you're sitting here, just being a little bit calm and a little bit quiet, I want you to think of something that always makes you smile. I want you to think of something that not just makes you smile, but makes you gasp with delight. Gasp with delight. That feeling of awestruck joy, whether it's, seeing a little puppy or holding a baby in your arms, right? Maybe it's that first bite of a chocolate mousse or a cheesecake, maybe it's the first draw on a cigarette. It could be anything, but something that just makes you, and when you do that, you can feel the goosebumps. You can feel the energy through your body. I want you to hold that energy for as long as you can. To just sit in that energy of awestruck. Because when you do that, you're not thinking. You're feeling. You're experiencing without words. And that is what we're going for during a meditational type time, during the space where we're connecting with divine. We want to tap into the space beyond words, the space with only emotion. I want you to hold that space for as long as you can. And you may fall out of it, you may fall back into it. Some of you might have to pause this to hold on to it for longer, because we're going to move on. The goal is to hold this for as long as you possibly can every day to sit in that feeling, right? In this moment, we're going to expand it. We're going to feel it. And you get the little tingles throughout your body. I want you to visualize that as just golden fireflies or golden sparks of life just throughout you. And I want you to visualize it expanding and filling the room and filling the house and filling your yard and filling your block and filling your neighborhood and your town, filling your state or your country, your area, engulfing the globe and shooting upwards and outwards into the universe. That awestruck energy and frequency of unconditional love. All right. So now that you are turned on a little bit, your light is on, you're feeling that. Remember, you can pull that back anytime you want with taking 30 seconds. There is nothing going on in your life unless you're like a surgeon or an EMT or some life or death situation. For most people, there is nothing in your life that can't wait 30 seconds so that you can turn on your light for a moment. So now let's shine that light. Now that we've turned it on, let's shine the light out into the world, just as we've just expanded it. We've engulfed the globe. And now we're going to focus on today's issue, on what we are shining our light upon, and how we are shifting our own perspective as we shine that light outward, looking at the world through divine eyes and looking at ourself through divine eyes with divine love, and that unconditional love that is the mother's love. So the issue that we are addressing today, and I'm going to come back up and put my face on here. I'm sure you're all excited. So the issue that we are going to be addressing directly today is truth. Truth. Oh, wait a minute. There we go. Okay. Technical difficulties. So the issue that we're going to be focusing on today is truth. Okay. Now, I'm not going to tell you what the truth is, but I don't have to tell you that right now, in our world, in our nation, in your town, wherever it is that you are, that we seem to be operating within two versions of reality. That we seem to have people that are very fixated on their version of what is truth being the only way, right? But we all know that each person sees the world differently based on what they've been through, based on their own pain, their own perception, the things that have happened to them, the hurts that they've gone through, and the self-defense mechanisms that they've put up to prevent that from happening again. This is what our perception of truth is as a human. We view it looking for warning, looking for what can happen that's bad, looking for that space of protecting ourselves with our sword and our shield from what is out there. And so because of that, we often come at truth from a combative state. And we may not even realize that that's what we're doing. And so as we live in this space of having two realities in this world, as we live in this space of literally the earth being a Schrodinger's box. If you're not familiar with a Schrodinger's box, it's a scientific thing. There's lots of videos and information out there. But there was a scientist who basically said that you put a cat in a box with some poison and you close the box. And then until you open the box, that cat in the box is in a state of both being alive and dead. It exists in two versions of reality at the same time because we cannot view it, because we are not seeing what that reality is. And so because of that, Schrodinger's box energy, this is exactly what is happening. Until we take the lid off of the box and see the objective evidence, the empirical evidence that doesn't change of either a living cat or a dead cat in a box. Ew, I love my kitties. Until we see that evidence, we continue to live in a state where two versions of reality are exactly correct for a huge portion of our planet. So we're in a tug of war. We're in a space where those scales are going like this, right? So a lot of how we view the truth, again, comes from how we are viewing the world. And our view of the world comes from our personal experiences, how we view ourselves, where we were born in the world, the experiences that we had growing up, the self-defense mechanisms that we made, the incorrect or correct core beliefs that we formed about ourselves, all form the glasses that we wear when we look at the world, when we look at the news, when we look at other people, and we perceive their truth or we judge their truth, right? So that is the issue that we are focusing on today, is truth. And here is how we are going to look at truth and diffuse it. Okay? We're going to look at truth and diffuse it. As we look at this truth, the first thing we need to do is look at ourselves. I want you to, in your own mind, pick an issue where you know that you believe very differently from everyone around you. Now, this could be something within religion. It could be a lifestyle. It could be a political choice. But what I would like you to do is really think about that issue for a moment and how you judge those and how you see those who are on the other side of that issue from you. Okay. So I want you to kind of have that in your mind, and you might be mad. You might be angry. You might think that they're horrible people. I want you to just acknowledge your perceptions, your judgments of those people who are on the opposite side of something that you feel passionately about. Because that's where we start, is how you see that, how you perceive that, right? So now that you have this issue in your mind, you know what your truth is, and you're viewing the other side and their version of truth as maybe evil, maybe hateful, maybe disgusting, destructive, horrible, horrific, right? Now, I'm not saying any particular issue, but I'm sure that there are people out there who are thinking of an issue where they're on each side. And just to give a very exacting example, is there are those people who believe that Donald Trump is the savior of all little babies and life everywhere. And there are those who believe that he is a con man and a grifter and a narcissist who has been grifting the entire world and possibly spying. So you have these two very real versions for those people who live in it. And each side demonizes, villainizes, points the finger at the other, otherizes them, is what I call it. So now that we have our issue, and now that we're in this space of looking at ourselves, right? We clearly see how we, come on, there we go. We clearly see how we are looking at the issue. We clearly know their position, the opposition position. So now what we're going to do is we are going to look at ourselves and our judgment of them, and we're going to let it go for a moment. Just put it on the shelf. We're not excusing anything that the opposition does. We're not saying they're correct. We're not saying that they are even saying truthful things. We're not saying that their emotions are correct. We're not saying they're not hateful. I just want to put that aside for a moment and let it go and not judge them as hateful, angry, hurt, lashing out people. We're going to look at those people through divine eyes, through the eyes of divine love and divine perception. Those people who hate you, who hate what you stand for, who hate your truth, who are angry at your truth, who deny your truth, they have a piece of divine within them. They were born children who were loved at one point. They were children who were possibly abused. They were children who were earning approval and validation through both good and bad acts, good and bad beliefs. They are small children who are continuing to earn validation through their actions, through what they do. They find a sense of belonging in pointing out other people's what they consider faults. They are insecure within themselves. They are hurt. They are hiding behind their anger. And they are scared. They are scared little children, seeing the whole world changed, or seeing the entire world as attacking them, as against them, as a place full of war and anger and hatred and violence. And it is infecting them. It is infecting them. Somebody loves that person. Somebody has loved that person. That person loves someone. That person loves something, even as they are spewing hateful rhetoric at you or at your truth. So what we're going to do is see that light within those people, see the peace of God that's riding around in this hateful shell. And we're going to visualize that hatred and that fear being taken out of their heart. Divine can do many things. And as we speak, as we focus on that, we are connecting to that 5D energy within that person that is hateful, within those people and that collective that is your opposition. You can connect with them on the 5D. Soothe them, soothe their soul, shine your light on their fear. It is only ignorance that creates fear, and not ignorance as in stupidity, but ignorance as in not being exposed, not understanding, not having the empathy to put yourself in someone else's shoes and to understand their truth from their space, not from your own. So I want you to focus that healing energy on the hearts of those who are in your opposition. Not that they change their mind, not that they stop perpetrating me, not that they stop coming against us, but what we are focusing on is that their hearts will open to the truth of unconditional love, that their fear will lift away, that their understanding will expand, and that they will see me through their own divine eyes, and that our divine parts recognize each other and spread and shine out into the world. And to take this one step further on a grander scale, I believe that we need a very clear vision of the earth for us to focus on, all of us to focus on. A world that is like a utopia. And I want us to overlay this visualization that we create. And you can make it as intricate as you like. We're going to put in some basic parameters for the world, for the earth. And we're going to overlay that 5D golden visualization right onto our 3D world where we are right now. Abraham Hicks often says that to get the reality you want, you have to live as if it is already here. And then the 3D reality where it is will catch up with your energetic signature. And so that's what we need to do. So our lights are turned on. We have diffused and transmuted, and whatever you like to say about our opposition, we have seen them through divine eyes. We have soothed their inner scared child, so afraid of the changes, so afraid of the threatening words and the threatening energy. And now I want us to take that same energy, and if you need to flip the switch again and take another little awestruck moment to get yourself back into it, go for it. Oh, there we go. We're going to visualize a beautiful earth, blue and green, spinning. Her atmosphere is so beautiful and clear. Her oceans are teeming with life that not only supports the planet and the ecosystems, but feeds the humans that live on the shores. Our industry is clean energy that leaves very little footprint on the earth. We respect the lifestyles that each of us chooses. We respect each other's space and safety. We recognize our connection to divine and to community together. Our earth is beautiful. We use our words and our love and our logic and our reason to resolve any conflicts. We have eradicated most violence, all violence, as any sort of resolution for problems. We live with peace, acceptance, harmony, love, a connection to nature and a connection to each other. Our earth is a utopia. Our earth is a paradise. And I see it as such. And I overlay that and integrate that energy into the 3D earth as it stands today. My vision of the earth is the true vision. And I know that is the vision of the earth and the paradise that we are meant to live on. All right. So, what do you think? We have now shown our light. Y'all, that was good. That was really fun. All right. So we're going to just kind of move into chitty chat for just a few moments here. What is the tea? What is going on in your world? Is there anything new? What has been catching your imagination? What challenges are you having? Feel free to put them down in the comments. I know that this is our very first day of doing this, so there may not be a lot of you guys watching out there, but upon the replay, you can put whatever you like down here in the comments. Tell me what you're doing these days. I have started doing a lot of paper cutting, paper crafting. I found this great trove of vintage magazines from like the 50s and 60s. So I've kind of been cutting them up and making little collages. I don't know. So, and, the energies have been definitely, I would say, destructive and rebuilding. Destructive and rebuilding, right? Like tearing you down to the very core of your issues, At least that's what I've been having. Share in the comments what's been going on with you, because, it's definitely been something outrageous energetically. I'm going to get personal here for a second, and then we'll pull the rune for the day. So is it going to work? Let me see. Okay, there we go. I really have been going through it, really struggling. And I'm sure that a lot of you out there have been struggling as well over this summer. And it's just this energetic shift almost of trying to shove the wrong shaped peg into the wrong shaped hole. Do you know what I'm saying? Trying to put like a square peg into a round peg into a square hole, but the size doesn't fit. It was just this tearing down and restructuring of myself at an almost cellular level. And it's continuing. I mean, it hasn't finished. But I personally was ripped down to my core, like to the depths of my depression that I struggled with for so many years. And it was a really deep journey into myself, into who I am, into how I view things. I learned things about myself in this past 2 months that are completely contradictory to who I thought I was my entire life. My entire life. So I don't know if any of you are going through that same exact thing. I mean, this was a revelation that blew my mind. And it really shaped how I'm going to move forward in my own life. And, just to be very specific with you guys, because, I always do. I know it's the first episode, but I have discovered that I am emotionally unavailable in many ways. And even though I share and explain and talk about my feelings a lot, I rarely experience them in an open way. I always experience them in a guarded way and exchange with people in a guarded way to protect myself and my own disappointment and my own core beliefs that I am not worthy of friendship or love. And these are the types of things that we all battle with. It may not be that particular issue for you, but it's something. And this energy is ripping it down. This energy is ripping it down right now, So let's move into the next segment. This little paper stuff I'm doing is so much fun. I found this article that had a recipe for a I don't know, Jello, if you know what a big Jello mold is, that had barbecued chicken drumsticks on top of it, on top of the Jello, on a bed of coleslaw. So, yeah, very interesting stuff that I'm finding. All right, let's go back into the show, into our schedule. As we move forward in this segment, I'm going to come back 2 or 3 times a week here. So as we move forward in the schedule, I would love it if you would share. And again, upon the replay, feel free to share. I'm going to go back and comment and interact with people who come into the comments. So let's pull the rune of the day, y'all. So I have been reading runes since 1993. I love them very, very much. I've been using the same rune book and set of runes, although I have recreated them myself and repainted them myself since 1993. Yes, 1993. So let's go back in here and get me big enough so y'all can see the rune of the day. What do we need to hear today? What is the energy of today that's going to help us as we move through it? And we have the energy, the rune Inguz. This is the rune of fertility. Fertility, y'all. So this rune of fertility is all about new beginnings. It's all about, if you're into the different sort of gods, it is Ing, the hero god. Okay. And it is about harmonizing, about adjusting. It is the completion of beginnings. It's joyful deliverance onto a new path. It is a space where it is so important to complete your beginning. So what does that mean? If you have to do preparation for a trip, you need to finish packing before you get in the car and leave. So whatever it is that you are going through and doing right now in your energy, be very prepared. Be very prepared with it. Fertilize the ground. But it is saying that you are freeing yourself from a rut, freeing yourself from a job, freeing yourself from a relationship, freeing yourself from a way of thinking, and that you need to embrace this. Embrace your new way of thinking and leave behind the other stuff. So that is our rune for today. And let's jump into our next segment. We're going to do some live readings after this news segment. Give me just a moment to cough. Everybody's got a little cough these days. Okay. Now, diffuse the news. This is not for the faint of heart. I mean this. There is no judgment here. Not everyone is good at this. And if you want to come back for the readings, I'm going to take about 5 to 10 minutes with this particular issue. And it's connected to what we did, shining our light earlier. We're going to dig down a little bit deeper on truth. And again, 5-10 minutes, then we're going to go into some readings. All right, y'all? We're going to start a little bit light for this. So if you don't want to watch this, you can either fast forward it if you're watching on the replay, or you can, I don't know, go make yourself another cup of coffee, get yourself a refill, grab a Danish or a bagel, while we diffuse the news. Thank you. All right. How we think about and look at an issue can shift reality. We are going to be taking a look at stories in the news and actively diffusing that story through unconditional love, through our divine perspective. We are not going to debate right or wrong. We are not going to debate left or right, although it will be talked about on the world stage. But we will be focusing our light on the wounds of the world and their healing. We're going to focus on healing those wounds. Okay, because we're all connected in this, right? So here we go, diffuse the news. And the topic that we're going to talk about for diffusing the news, again, is truth. It is truth. So when we talk about truth, again, as we were saying, it's about perspective. Truth is something that can be very slippery, very slippery. And we don't always know what truth is, because we are basing our truth on sources that we have found. So not everyone is basing their truth on the same source. And not everyone is looking at that truth from the same space. And because of this, we end up with this two versions of reality, right? So here's what we actively are going to do to diffuse the news. Because again, it is our collective energy that affects what is happening in the world. We are manifesting reality through our collective energy and the way that we see the world. And so those of us who understand this need to start seeing the world through the divine eyes and not through the separation and division that has been happening. We need to start seeing the world through divine as connected brothers and sisters in this experience, and not through the division of left and right, good and bad, Q and not Q, conservative, liberal, whatever it is. Okay? So this is the space that we're going to step into, diffusing the news. So there's been a lot going on all around the world. And truth is something that is so slippery sometimes. It's a very slippery slope. Because again, what we decide to believe is truth becomes truth. If you look at a person and you make a judgment about them, that person is a liar, and you just believe it, and somebody gives you proof that that person is not a liar, are you able to change your opinion? Do you trust that truth that they gave you that said that that person is not a liar? Then you have to look at the source. Did that person that told you that, do they know what they're talking about? Right? Now you have to vet your source. And somebody else says, nope, they did lie. So again, it comes back to our own judgment, right? It comes back to our own judgment of the situation and how we look at it. So how do we look at this huge division, this huge separation between truths in our world right now? Again, I believe the first thing we have to do is recognize that we are all one. Recognize that we are connected to every single person, and all of those who are on the opposite side of truth from what you believe are also divine and also carrying divine light within them. So as you point the finger at them angrily, you point the finger at them, you are separating yourself from them. You are creating a delineation between you and them, just like the separation that we create between us and God. We are separating ourselves and making that something external, something over there. I'm not associated with that. That's bad. That's stupid. That's wrong. Whatever it is, I'm not associating with that. So when we look at this versions of truth, specifically here in the States, because that's where I live, here in the States right now, we have a lot of stuff coming out about our former president and the two versions of truth here in our country. Your two versions of truth might be about religion in your life, might be about a person in your life, might be about the news, might be about your lifestyle if you live an LGBTQ lifestyle. I mean, it could be just about anything where your truth is met with anger and hatred, right? And so as we look out into the world where someone's truth is met with anger and hatred, this is where we want to look. And if we have our own personal experiences within it and our own opinions at it, then it's twofold, because now we look at ourselves, right? So if we start with an issue with two very different sides, like this legal stuff, we can liken that to anything in our life. And I think as the light workers, as the people who see all sides of truth, we all know that this entire exercise, I heard Russell Brand put it really well the other day. I'm sure I'm not going to say it as well as he did, but we're all in an illusion that we agreed to participate in. First, you learn that everything is an illusion, and you kind of go a little crazy. And then you recognize that we all agreed to play along. So if you are playing along, that means you are writing your own script. So I really want you to view yourself in this view of truth and to really examine where your mind is closed, where your mind is open, where your heart is closed, where your heart is open, where you find yourself judging others, where you find yourself judging yourself. And which of your judgments, beliefs about others, about the opposition, are based on your own fear about them. Once we do that within ourselves, that can be a little bit complicated, right? That can be a little bit complicated. A lot of what we're seeing here in the States is racist, homophobic, hateful, anti anyone who's non-Christian, and angry, very, very angry. And you might find yourself on their side, even as a spiritual person, because the way that the divide happened in our country is that our spiritual community was split, and half of the community backed Donald Trump, and the other half of the community did not. And so in those two versions of truth, neither side was willing to acknowledge a single piece of empirical evidence that both agreed on, because every single issue was tied so deeply into the emotions, into the fear, into the righteous quest of saving whatever, saving the children, whatever it was. And so that level of emotion, that level of anger, it digs into us, right? It digs into those people that believe that particular way, and their anger and their view of the world. As we look at their view of the world, as we see it from our eyes, we need to start looking underneath that. And we looked at this a little bit earlier. This is how we diffuse the news. We're going to look at the fear underneath that person's opinion of you, underneath that person's view of you. Look at your own fear. Look at how they're looking at you. And then I want all of it. Turn on that light. Envelop it in it. Pray or think or heal or send or focus, however you like to say it, to that opposition's heart, that they will open their heart and lose their fear, that they will open their mind, right? No matter which side you're on, there's truth on all sides. It might only be this much, but there is truth on all sides. So we need to view these spaces where there is opposition, not as pointing the finger at your opposition, but rather through the eyes of love, through the eyes of empathy, through the eyes of understanding, not condoning, but understanding that it comes from their own space of fear. It comes from their own sense of self-protection. It comes from their own sense of self-worth and the self-protection mechanisms that they have built in. So somebody who is angry and hateful and racist is doing that because as a little kid, they were hurt. They were trained that way. They got validation for saying things that fell into that. They were rewarded for behaving in particular ways that have formed them. But all of that is undoable. You can undo trauma. You can undo pain. You know that. You've been there. It doesn't take away what happened. It doesn't excuse what happened. But you can move into a different space. You can shift in to a different version of you, no matter which side of the opposition you're on. Because I guarantee you, no matter how you feel, you are the opposition to somebody. And your news is the opposition to somebody else's. And this is why we have to look beyond the 3D using our divine perception and our divine perspective to see the core light in those who are the opposition, and to focus on truth, empirical truth, which does exist. It does exist, and you can have your own opinions about empirical truth. But we are coming to a point where all versions are condensing into one. And these two versions of reality, we need to focus our heart and our mind on that utopian reality and have that in our mind when we diffuse the news, rather than our own anger, our own fear, and our own sense of injustice. Shift how you look at it. All right, let's jump into some live readings, y'all. If you are around, let's jump into some live readings. Is it going to change? Let's see. There we go. All right, I am going to do some live tarot readings. If you are here, we're going to do a reading for the room. I am going to pull some cards and for the room for the day. We had this Ingus for fertility when we were pulling the rune for the day. Wait, let me see. There we go. Come on, go away. Okay. We had some fertility rune, and we're going to pull some cards for the room. If you would like to have a reading, all you have to do is put "I am open" in the comments. Let's see here now. Just like that, I'm going to put up the chat, and we will make this small. Ting, ting. All right. Okay, so let's pull some runes for the room. If you're watching this on the replay, don't worry. Whenever you're watching this is the right time for you. That's why I started the show off saying, if it's not morning where you are, it's morning somewhere. You know, it's morning somewhere. So we're going to pull a rune for the room, and we are going to start with my kitty cat tarot. And just to get an overall energy of what we're looking at, I'm going to pull some information on that Ingus and see what the universe wants us to know today. And again, if you want a reading, feel free to pop in there. All right, universe, what do we need to know about that Ingus today? What do we need to know about this Ingus today? Anything else from my kitty cats? One more. All right. Very interesting. Okay. So what we ended up with was 2 9s. Now 9s, we are at almost the ending of the cycle. On the bottom of the deck, we have Devil. So the overall energy, like the energy of it, is that Devil energy. And so Devil energy is about things that we're obsessed with, things that we are addicted to, things that we can't live without, things that we feel like we have to have, those, whether it's an actual thing, whether it's a thought pattern, whether it's a pattern of action that we keep doing over and over again. It's those things that we really need to let go of to get the death and the new beginning. So you have to let go of that space to get the new beginning, right? So the things that I pulled with this were 2 9s. Now in the tarot, the numbers, as they go up, they are like a journey that we take. And then each one of the suits is like a different aspect of life. And I do have an intuitive tarot card class that I created. I didn't actually do it yet, but I'll probably put it up. And y'all, I don't charge for anything. Okay, so I have 2 9s here, and we pulled up the 9 of Cups, which is one of my absolute favorites, and the 9 of Swords, which should probably be like this, the 9 of Swords. So on this journey, as we go up 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 is like the end of the journey, but it's the hardest part. Like if you could imagine that you've been carrying a huge burden for a long time, by the time you get to 10, the next step is putting down that burden and getting your new start, getting your new beginning. So 9s are where we have not quite gotten to that space where we're at the last steps, but we see the finish line. It's like seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. Now, the 9 of Cups, for me specifically, is something that it means a lot to me. On a 9 of Cups card in a regular deck, there's usually a person, like a little fat guy sitting there, very smug, very smug. So for me, the 9 of Cups is always, I told you so. It's all going to work out. See, I told you so. You worried for nothing. So as we go through this new beginning, this new space, know that everything's going to work out. You don't have to worry about it. And this Nine of Swords is always about this space where we are worrying, fretting, lying in bed at night, replaying things over and over and over and over again. These two energies almost cancel each other out. One is saying, you're lying in bed all night, being worried about this thing. Don't worry, it's all going to work out. You're going to get your new beginning. You're sitting in your new beginning because we are at that space where you are recognizing those things in your life. And it kind of connects to what I was talking about earlier in my own journey, where I really have dug in like to this space in my own journey where I was learning things about myself at 52 years old that I have never known, that I would never have ever suggested or ever have thought were true with me. I've always thought I am a very WYSIWYG kind of person. What you see is what you get. But I've learned that I'm actually not. I've learned that I know, thank you. They're always trying to comfort me when I'm, so they show me the sun. Everything, be happy. Everything is good. Everything is good. Yes, everything is good. I'm just relaying. Okay, so let's pull another card for the Rune. So right now, what the universe wants you to know is that your new beginning is here. You're sitting in it. Don't sit up worrying about what can go wrong. You are creating reality. Know that everything is going to work out. And afterwards, people are going to go, I told you so. I told you so. I mean, unless you sit in that energy of, being worried for too long. You don't want to do, are you kidding me? Into the energy of death, which is what I was literally just talking about, was this energy of death. This new beginning, whatever it is that has transformed recently in our lives, it is giving us the opportunity to start anew. And it is not only giving us the opportunity to start anew, but it is giving us the opportunity to start anew. Wow. To start anew as there we go. To start anew, knowing that everything is going to work out. Knowing that what is happening is for our highest good. 10 of Pentacles. The movement that is coming into our lives. Knowing that it is happening for our higher good through divine is what is going to give us that balance. It's going to give us that balance in our life and that Empress energy. 9 of Pentacles is the Empress in minor arcana, and the Empress is all of the queens combined. So she is all the love, all the planning, all the charisma, all of the strength, all of the truth, all of the joy. She is everything, the Empress. And so that 9 of Pentacles in the minor arcana is all about that. So, all right. So if there's anyone in here who would like a reading, please type open into the comments. I haven't seen any comments at all, even though it says that we have a couple people watching. So I don't know if these comments are popping in. If anybody wants to help me and just pop in. Again, this is our very first episode of Morning Light. And I'm going to do this a couple times a week. It may not be morning, but it's morning somewhere. And you can just watch these on the replay whenever you like to. Flip on your switch to turn on your light for the day. And let's all turn on our lights. Let's unleash our lights with the world. All right. So, here we go. Let's do one more screen. Let's wrap it up here. Oh, I went back one too far. Okay, hold on. Okay, here we go. I want to thank you guys for joining me here today. Again, I'm so grateful y'all are being patient with me with this new system. I'm trying real hard to get everything together, I promise. And again, if you are putting things in the chat, I don't know. Should I look? Let's look for a minute before I wrap up the show. We'll just look. Okay, I am seeing chats here. I was not seeing chats on my on my on my side. So that's something I'll have to look into, guys. It's hard to do readings for people when you can't see that they want a reading, right? All right. Let me see. Should I pull you up live and see if somebody wants it? I just don't know if the chat is working. All right. Well, for today, we are going to go ahead and wrap it up. I am so grateful that you guys came out and joined me today. I'm going to do this a couple of times a week. We're going to follow the same exact itinerary. If you missed the beginning, please go back and watch it. You can unleash your light and turn on anytime you like. And I'm just going to, let's see here now. Unleashyourlight.org is where I have all kinds of information. I have well over 200 videos on Facebook and YouTube, and I have links to most of them on my page. I have playlists about the awakening, being an empath, forgiveness, watching the news, self-awareness, self-validation, self-love, everything you can imagine pretty much in the spiritual realm, I have done a video on. And so you can find all of that at unleashyourlight.org. I am doing a huge overhaul within the next month or so of the website. It's going to be organized a little bit differently. And we are shifting into a space of proactiveness. And therefore, we are now Unleash Your Light Ministry. And I am going to be speaking as often as possible, bringing the divine message and shifting so that we can all shift this world. So we can all look at the universe, look at our earth, our beautiful world, and overlay that 5D reality of utopia on it from a proactive point of view. We are changing the world within ourselves. Be the change. Unleash Your Light Ministry will never put the message or lessons behind a paywall. This has been something that has been very controversial in the spiritual community for a long, long time. I will never charge you for a reading. I will never charge you for a session. I will never charge you to speak, to consult. I don't think that the message of divine should ever be behind a paywall because it's not my skill. It's not me, like something that I learned how to do. It just pops out of my mouth whether I want it to or not. So I will never charge you for any of those things. However, I do them on the basis of what the universe tells me to do. And so it works however it works. I'm going to do all kinds of classes, all kinds of courses, all kinds of information. And we're just going to try to bring as much information to create a clearinghouse of resources and love and connection and knowledge. And you can find some of that at unleashyourlight.org. I'm always creating, I'm always adding, and I'm super excited about it. I do, however, accept donations. And if you found worth in what I do, you can feel free to give me a little tip or give a donation. And it's always appreciated. But you know what I want more than that? Go to the website, read the articles, watch the videos. Join the newsletter. You can support me without spending any money at all, just by participating, because all of those things help get the message out. And we're changing the world, y'all. That's our goal. We're changing the world. That's our space to do this, right? So we got one more little screen. I want to say before we jump to it, again, I'm so grateful that you were here. I'm so grateful to be able to bring the message of divine. I feel so blessed every single day. And this time on earth is so monumental. And like, we're going to get to the other side and be like, oh my God, we were like tourists during one of the most explosive times in human history. Very interesting. I want every single one of you out there to know that you are beloved, you matter, and you are so very loved.